Thank you for all the stations workers that are here, and Culinary Union members, and also members of the press. Welcome. My name is Ted Papa George. I am the Secretary Treasurer of the Culinary Workers Union Local 226.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to station workers. Welcome to the press. My name is Diana Valles, and I'm the President of the Culinary Workers Union Local 226.
Thank you, Deanna. We're here today to announce 76 hospitality workers have filed a mass action lawsuit against their current and former employer, Stations Casinos, alleging violations of the Nevada Hospitality and Travel Workers' Right to Return Act, or SB386, as we call it. It was passed by the Nevada Legislature May 26, 2021. Signed into law June 8, 2021 by Governor Steve Sisolak. These 76 plaintiffs have had over 680 years experience combined at Stations Casinos before they were fired during the COVID-19 pandemic. SB386 ensures that Nevada casino, hospitality, stadium, and travel-related employees are able to return to their former positions. SB386 created a cause of action against employers who failed to abide by the process the law lays out for orderly recall of hospitality workers to positions with their former employers for which they were qualified. The mass action complaint alleges that Stations Casinos, Nevada's third largest private employer, which owns and operates 9 casinos in Las Vegas, has operated in flagrant violation of its obligations as an employer and has not recalled hospitality workers back to work as mandated by SB 386. 76 plaintiffs, a majority of whom are women and persons of color, are seeking hiring and reinstatement, future and back pay, civil penalties, compensatory damages, fees resulting from Station Casinos' alleged violations of the SB 386 law. And specifically, they demand to have the right of rehire and reinstatement into job positions for which they are qualified. To win future and back pay starting 15 days after Stations Casinos received and failed to respond to each plaintiff's written notice of violation under SB 386. To ensure that Stations Casinos pay civil penalties of $100 for each employee whose rights under SB 386 were violated, and to secure compensatory and liquidated damages payable to each individual plaintiff in the amount of $500 per day that Station Casinos violated SB 386 starting July 1st, 2020. And finally, to ensure that Station Casinos follows the law going forward. The Culinary Union supports Station Casinos workers as they pursue justice and fight to get their jobs back and ensure the company follows SB 386, the right to return law. Station Casinos' actions during the pandemic towards their employers were egregious. After the SB 386 was passed and right before it went into effect, Stations Casinos held massive job fairs to fill open positions with new workers instead of bringing back their former employees. Stations Casinos, which fought enactment of the law every step of the way, isn't following the law. They need to do the right thing. Their current and former employees demand and deserve justice. Now, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, 98% of Culinary Workers Union members were laid off. Currently, about 80% are back now. But while a majority of unionized workers already have recall rights built into their contracts, and we negotiated additional extended recall rights because of the pandemic, the fact is the majority of workers protected by SB 386 are not unionized. The Culinary Union is proud to have won the right to return for over 350,000 hospitality workers in Nevada. SB386 gave hundreds of thousands of union and non-union casino, hospitality, stadium, and travel-related employees who were laid off through no fault of their own the right to return to their jobs as business returns. Not only did stations casinos fight this right to return law every step of the way, but for the record, every Republican member of the 2021 Nevada Legislature voted to not support SB 386. So now let's hear from the workers. First up, we'd like to have you hear from Precious Briggs, a former cocktail server at Palace Station. Precious, come on up.
Good morning. My name is Precious Briggs. I was a full-time cocktail server in the Highland River Metropolitan Casino. I was there for about 2 years. I love my job. I love what I do. I relocated here from Louisiana, leaving my family behind, and came to Station Casino's Palace. I love the locals, and I'm very excited to work for Station Casinos. Due to the pandemic, I was laid off March of 2020, and I have not been contacted since. I have visited the property, and I've called multiple times and still no answers. We worked hard to get SB 386 passed, and I feel this is very unfair to us. Stations needs to do the right thing, follow the law, and call their workers back. Thank you.
Thank you, Precious. Next up, Kenya Kovas, former cook's helper at Green Valley Ranch for 16 years. Kenya, are you here? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Kenya Kowa. I'm working station mafia for 15 years. I do a good job for a long time. I've been in a lot of change because in the past we had good, but now after the pandemic, he take the opportunity to, put everybody out. So that opportunity, we lost everything. The insure we think we have, because the seniority, the hour, that you are full time, you think you have the right thing, organized. But even we know nothing is sure, but he take that opportunity to throw out us like we are the trash, and that's not right because we do a good job and he never called us back. He only called the new people right now after, the law, and he need to follow the rule. The law and put us back, because we do a good job and now he's hiring the new people that maybe don't have even no experience, and we work for that company for a lot of years and now we feel, very bad because with this situation, like the pandemic, every family, have a different experience, but it's hard for everybody, and like me, I think I have everything organized, like I said before, sorry for, repeat. But I think my daughter goes to the college, the father moved to the state, I know it's my own business, my personal thing, but it's hard for me because I'm a single mom with 2 kids, like I need to, and these people only take the opportunity to, to take only a band for himself, and pull a lot of family out, like, So I think you need to follow the rule, the law, and we don't put us back because we know what we're doing, and we want the job back, So I work for, sorry for it, to be emotional. I'm Kenia Coa, trabajo para Station Casino por 15 años. He dado lo mejor de mi vida tratando de dar un mejor trabajo. Y ahora me siento devastada porque realmente mi familia ha sufrido muchos cambios debido, no solo mi familia, todos nosotros, pero bueno, diferentes experiencias para cada cual. Hemos perdido familia, amistades y no me parece justo que estas personas se llenen sus bolsillos con y más beneficios y todo para ellos y nosotros simplemente después que pasó la pandemia han hecho cantidades, agarrado diferentes personal y a nosotros nos han dejado al lado, no nos han contratado de nuevo para atrás, no nos han devuelto nuestro trabajo, un trabajo que nosotros amamos y queremos seguir haciendo. Solo me parece justo que estas personas sigan la ley, una ley que no respetaron y que nos devuelva nuestro trabajo, porque realmente hemos pasado muchas dificultades y creo que es lo que nos merecemos. Muchas gracias.
Next up, we'd like to hear from Samuel Plaintiffs. He's a former cook helper at Sunset Station. He was there for 7 years. Samuel, come on up.
Hello everybody, my name is Samuel Plaintiffs. I'm a former cook helper at Sunset Station. I was with the company almost 8 years before the pandemic hit. The pandemic was something that affected everybody in a very difficult way. Everybody's experience, like she said, is going to be different. But one added stress that we did not need was a little bit into the pandemic to hear they're just getting rid of us. After so many years of loyal service that we have all done, some of us have bled and sweat and even got injured on the job making sure that we ran all those casinos and hotels perfectly for them. We did everything to go above and beyond. Not because it was expected of us, but a lot of us love working there. And sorry, just trying to get my thoughts together.
It's okay.
It's very
Take your time.
emotional. Station tries to pride themselves on saying they love locals. Well, your workers are locals. Your workers are people that put their job first ahead of many other things, because not only was it a way for us to make income, a lot of us went in there seeking opportunity to move up in the ranks. But just to be simply thrown out and using the pandemic as an excuse to line your pockets, I think is completely unfair. I see a lot of people here, some of them I have not seen for a while, some of them, whether they be single parents, some of them having to be those sole providers for their families, and just having to file this lawsuit just to have stations follow the law. You should not have to file a lawsuit to have your employer follow the law. There's many people there that have worked for the company for over 15 years plus, 20 years plus, doesn't matter how many years they worked for that company. They were always loyal, always did their best, always made sure they gave the most outstanding service they could to run these places. Just to be simply discarded with the pandemic as an excuse, honestly, I'm not even going to say what I think, because I'm going to try to keep it as professional as possible. But that was, in my opinion, the most unhuman thing you can do. Use the pandemic as an excuse to get rid of people. Hire brand new people just so you don't have to keep all your employees, paying them, whether it be max or whether it be seniority with vacation, or whether it be trying to pay people's 401k, whatever excuse they have. We always, at least I can speak to where I was at, we always did our best, always made sure we had everything. We always solved the problems before it ever became an issue. We did nothing but be loyal workers for this company. We just got tossed aside like yesterday's trash. The reason I'm here is because I'm fighting for justice for everybody here and for myself. I think it's about time that stations starts following the law and give us our jobs back like the law states. Thank you.
Next up, Rodrigo Solano, a former cook at Boulder Station. He worked there for 27 years. Rodrigo, come on up front.
Good morning. Mi nombre es Rodrigo Solano. My name is Rodrigo Solano Quiroz. I was a cook worker in Station Casino for 27 years. I was laid off due to COVID-19 pandemic. I support the right to work for the law, but the Station Casino decided that they would be giving my job back, okay? This affect because I have struggling to pay for rent, utilities, everything. And I want to support my family. My brother is sick, he's not able to work. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected me and co-workers because Station Casino decided no give you job back. Thank you. Tengo 27 años en Station Casinos. He trabajado duro. He sido, no es un modelo, porque pues, yo soy una persona que me gusta seguir las reglas, y porque pues, he luchado por la base, por la familia. Y motiva mucho a mí porque todo uno, la familia está atrás de uno y depende de uno. Y todos tenemos derecho de que nos respeten y que ellos se les cante el corazón, porque, por ejemplo, yo por tantos años, ellos no agotaron el corazón para dejarnos afuera. Yo pensaba que este momento era nada por un rato, con respecto al gobierno que nos sacó por la pandemia, pero ellos es un abuso y ya. Ellos no respetan leyes y está bien eso. No, yo tenía tantos años, ellos se enriquecieron, han tenido mucho dinero. Ellos prefieren pagar los lawyers que pagarnos a uno o motivarnos como antes el papá lo hacía. Porque yo conocí al papá de ellos, era un modelo de señor que iba y decía: a mí la gente es mi familia. Y estos hombres, los hijos, nunca se han parado, nunca han dado la cara, nunca han saludado. Al contrario, vayan y súbele la red, súbele la aseguranza, súbele esto, sin pensar que nuestra familia sufre. Y el poco dinero que tenemos nosotros, pues lo hacemos alcanzar, pero ya con esto que pasó, desgraciadamente no hallamos la puerta. Estamos muy enojados en este momento porque, por ejemplo, yo he ido a 3 ferias y hago mi petición y todo bien, mis entrevistas, y me mandan y nunca me hablan y todo eso. Eso a mí tiene claro y todos los compañeros están por lo mismo. Y pues, ahí disculpe por estar un momento muy triste, ¿verdad? Pero eso es lo que pienso. Y yo le mando ese mensaje a los Techos Casinos. Si tienen corazón, si tienen familia, piensen que sean humanos, porque todo se devuelve. Karma, todo se vuelve. Y eso, Diosito, hay un gran día ahí. Y muchas gracias.
And last up, we have Barbara Tevas. She was a former banquet server at Green Valley Ranch, and she worked there for 13 years. Barbara?
Morning, everybody. My name is Barbara Tevas. I was hired April 11th, 2007 to Green Valley Ranch Station Casinos. I was a committee leader for the Culinary Union 226. We shouldn't have to be here today. None of us should have to be here today. But yet here we are. Many of my coworkers are here with me today, and we are remaining strong during a very difficult time, one of the most difficult times in our human history. It's 11 a.m., right, on a Tuesday. Normally, I'd be in the convention room at Green Valley Ranch down in the event center, setting up a corporate lunch for the executives that would be soon breaking from their meetings and coming in to eat. But yet, I'm here, fighting for the right to be back there. We shouldn't have to be doing that. Y'all remember the early days of the pandemic and the sorrow that came with that. The shutdown that happened in March 2020, we all were let go. The scare of COVID-19, not knowing the disease and how it would affect us, whether we would be dead for showing up for work. We're also scared of job loss. Because here we were doing the right thing, staying home because it was a government mandate. But we didn't know if we would be called back. We hoped that we would be called back because that would have been the right thing to do. There wasn't even a vaccine. And you know, we all had limited PPE. None of us could really get access to masks, gloves, face covers, things that we knew would help keep us all safe and free from harm. Station Casinos called and asked me to clean out my locker. I was a bit taken back, and I started to lose a little bit of hope because the reality of it started to set in. Maybe they weren't going to call us back. Okay, well, maybe in June, when they opened in June, I look forward to being called back. My phone never rang. I started to lose hope. I lost family members due to COVID. Many of my family members were sick and they still suffer through long COVID. Luckily, I was vaccinated and protected, and my members had to suffer through that. In September of 2020, we started pushing for SB386. We started really recognizing that that would be the only thing that would get us back to work. We had bipartisan support. We had the support of the community leaders. We had neighbors. We had church members. Everyone that we spoke to, they all support this because it's the right thing to do. When Senator Canizero spoke to the Nevada Legislature in her proposal of SB386, they also invited D. Taylor, who's the president of Unite, here to speak on our behalf. And he said, why are workers, due to no fault of their own, due to the pandemic, get tossed into the scrap heap at the casinos and hotels are reopening? Layoff and furloughed employees were given 2 months of payments thanks to Congress and the funds that they were provided to give that money to us. Where have station casinos been, though, for the last 2 years? We've been abandoned. They promoted that they've been in the community for decades, a strong beacon of hope and light in the community. They haven't been there for my family. We are all your neighbors. We pour your drinks. We serve your birthday parties and your anniversary parties. And we also see through the horrible sorrows that you suffer when you come to Green Valley Ranch for funerals and celebrations of life. We've been there through all of that for you. And Station Casinos is fully aware of that. We've given years of service and dedication to the success of each individual industries that we've been given the opportunity to work hard for. My health has suffered. My mental health struggles daily. Today is a good day, and I'm happy to be here and share my story. This mass tort is necessary now because of the various damages we have all suffered due to the choices made by station casinos. We don't want to be here, and we shouldn't have to be here. My family has barely managed to keep our home through a series of maneuvers and government agencies' assistance. We've managed to keep food on the table during those difficult times, including through government agencies and right here at the local Culinary 226 level with food banks, tax assistance, a variety of things that truly became a beacon of hope for many of us during a very dark time. I don't want this to be a sad story forever. I don't want us to have to keep repeating these stories of sorrow and misery. I keep telling my story because I have to, until somebody hears the story and recognizes that we are humans. Yes, we are team members, yes, we have employee numbers, and yes, we're tax credits, but we're human beings that have not been treated fairly by the third largest employer in this state. As a family member and a member of the Henderson and Las Vegas community, we will continue to share our stories, and we will hope that hope outlasts sorrow and that justice prevails. Thank you very much.
So we are here to support these workers. Culinary Union fought very hard for SB386. These workers that you see here knocked on doors, made phone calls, and did the work to help pass SB386. The idea that stations, casinos rushed to hold these massive job fairs before SB386 took effect just adds salt to the wounds. But we're here to say that no one is above the law. Stations, casinos may think they are above the law. They are not. And we are here to support these workers, and they're going to fight back. So thank you very much for coming today. And we appreciate everyone here. We appreciate these workers, these very brave workers. It takes a lot of courage to stand up to a company that has went after workers like Station Casinos. So thank you so much. We're going to, I think we have a few minutes to take a few questions if there are questions. Bethany, do you want to
Who's up first?
handle that?
Questions? English or Spanish? Questions? Go ahead. Anyone?
Where do we go from here? What's next? What can we expect?
Well, this is a mass action lawsuit, and the idea is to give these workers the support they need to be able to move forward, to take on the third largest employer in the state of Nevada to get the job back. What we expect to happen is that station casinos should reach out to these workers and right the wrongs and put them back to work. But there will be legal proceedings as needed.
Other questions? Howard?
Are there any other companies that are not complying with that you know of, the gaming companies that are not complying with 386?
Well, we don't think so. As I said before, we spent time with all of our union employers. We negotiated additional extended recall rights, and SB386 allows for that. So if you have a bargaining agreement, it stays in place. And we've extended those recall rights, and we feel very comfortable with all of our partners. So I can't tell you that, Howard. I can tell you that the purpose of this law was to make sure that workers across Las Vegas and throughout the hospitality industry had protections. These workers have come forward. It takes a lot of courage to take on a company like this, so we'll see.
And then, just real quick, what you're saying is that station casinos held worker employment events to get people before 386 took effect, correct?
Yeah, so here's one of the press releases of Stations Casinos. Stations Casinos host hiring fairs at 3 properties in the Las Vegas Valley. Some of the highlights: recruiters will be providing on-the-job offers for roles at all Stations Casinos. And that was Tuesday, June 15th. So just a timeline. May 26th, 2021, passed by the legislature. June 8th, signed into law by Governor Steve Sisolak by June 15th. Big job fairs before the July 1st, were to take effect.
Did any of the workers here participate in the job fairs?
All of us. All of us.
Can we? I'm hearing they said that all of them did.
Okay, all participated in
Yeah.
the job fairs. Okay.
But remember, that's not a requirement. They were previous workers. The law requires the company to call them back. So that's really why we're here today. But I think these workers have made every step they need to do to try to get back to work. Go ahead,
Question?
Beth.
Any questions?
You know the, thanks.
Just a message for people for Mr. Henry. What will be the message?
I'm sorry, say that
What will be
again.
the message for people for Mr. Henry? What will be the message from you guys?
Yeah, well, the message is that you do have rights under SB 386. the law does require companies to bring workers back to work. They cannot decide to toss you out like an old shoe or trash to kick to the curb. And we understand when dealing with, these large employers, especially an employer like Station's Casinos. They have a record of law breaking that may be unequaled in the state of Nevada, where someone may be fearful. Certainly folks here, when they take this stand, and the rest of the plaintiffs that are involved, and future ones that may decide to join, will certainly have to take that into account. Our message is that you have the right to stand up for your rights. We're going to back you up 100%, every step of the way. Bethany?
Any other questions?
Yes. Hi there, Mike Shorter,
Hey, Mike.
Didn't other companies have these sort of job fairs, these quick, mass hiring events right before July 1st too?
Not that I'm aware of, but every single company, remember, the unionized companies have requirements. That's part of the great thing about having a union contract, is that your seniority guarantees you, even if you've been working there 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, the company has to bring you back before they can go out and bring new folks to take your job. And that's the majority of the employers out there. The rest of the employers, and we can't say specifically, but what we saw is that they went to bring their own workers back, as opposed to stations who went to have these job fairs kind of under the gun, under the wire, before this took place. Now, yes, we don't have a problem with job fairs. We're all for it, and they're going on now to be able to fill the demand, and that's great. The problem we have is that there is a very clear requirement for stations, casinos, and every single employer to offer folks a job back before they bring in new hires. And the other thing I want to comment on, look, every one of these plaintiffs, when it's one worker, it's a family. These are all families that are dealing with this crisis. So we just say that we think that stations, casinos needs to bring folks back to work like the law says.
Last question? Anyone? No? Okay.
Good? Great. Okay, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you all. And thank you all for coming, our culinary members and staff, and also these plaintiffs. God bless you guys. We're going to finish up with a union